this is Tristan with Mahalo, and we are at Hipcooks in West LA, and today we're making pumpkin flan. So there are a couple steps to making pumpkin flan, and the first thing is to get the ramekins to have the caramelized sugar in the bottom, because that's what makes flan unique, is that when we turn it out, it has that caramelized sugar that dips down over top of it. So in my pan, I have you want to choose the heaviest type of pot that you have. I just have about a half a cup of sugar in here, and that really depends on how many flans you're making. We're making the recipe for 4. So it's just sugar alone with medium-high heat, and over some time, maybe 3 minutes, the sugar will start to melt and turn golden, and we'll watch that happen. As that is happening though, I'm going to start working on the custard over here. And the custard is a combination of milk, eggs, and sugar. For flan, we do 1 cup of cream, heavy cream, right down to here, and 1/2 cup milk. And this will start to get warm on probably medium heat. We don't want to boil the milk. We just want bubbles to start to form around the top of that so that we know that it's warm. And the reason we want it to become warm is to melt the sugar in the egg milk mixture. So with this flan for 4, I have 3 eggs, and we'll be using 2 whole eggs, and 1 additional yolk. And let that white fall through into the bowl, capturing the yolk with your hand, and then into the bowl. So sometimes people get scared with custards because the word tempering goes along with it. This is a foolproof way that you don't need to temper. Put the sugar in with the eggs instead of the sugar in with the milk. And this will create a happy environment for the hot milk that you won't end up with scrambled eggs. Just give those a good whisk and set there. Let's check our caramel. It's starting to melt, so you just want to give it a good stir around. Make sure you get in the corners. And this goes pretty quickly, so be sure to watch it. The milk is still doing its thing and still heating up. And this is when we start to flavor. The milk is what we flavor to make the pumpkin flan. If you want chocolate flan, this is where you put the chocolate. If you want vanilla flan, you could put vanilla in there. But since we're doing pumpkin flan today, about 3 tablespoons of just canned pumpkin, the same stuff that you use for pumpkin pie, right into the milk cream mixture. Mixing the pumpkin into the cream, while at the same time watching your sugar over here. And you can start to see that it's becoming golden, and this is the color that we want. So kind of break up those chunks in there. I'm going to turn off the heat because this heavy pan creates a lot of heat, and if we turn it off, it will still continue to cook. So this is about the color we want to put into the ramekins. So I'll go ahead and pour that in. You can see that I'm using these individual burners here. This is what we use at Hipcooks Cooking School because it lends to mobility for cooking. So your gas burner or electric stove at home will work exactly the same way. This is just what we use here. Okay, so fill in the ramekins. And checking the milk, it's boiling, so I turned it off. Just give these a good round. Cover the bottom as much as you can. It does not need to be perfect because when you put the custard in there, it will be hot. It will melt that caramel and make it just cover the entire bottom. So back to the custard, little custard in here. Sprinkle of cinnamon. Mix that in. So we've got our pumpkin-y milk, a little bit of cinnamon. If you don't like cinnamon, don't do cinnamon. dry nutmeg. Or you can also just use like pumpkin spice. That's a really easy route to go. Okay. Time to dump the milk into the egg. I'm going to pour it in and just let it sit for a couple of seconds before I stir. And this way the milk and the egg will meet and they'll be happy and there'll be definitely no scrambling. So that's just going to sit for a second. Okay, that is long enough. Give me a stir. And this is our custard. So fill up the ramekins, just distribute what you have between the 4. If you have extra, you can always grab another ramekin and make the 5th one. And the last step to making custard is to fill your cooking tray with water. So when you're making custard, if you don't have a cooking tray that has sides, choose like a Pyrex in which you can pour water so that you can create like a moist environment to help the custard cook thoroughly. So I'll pop those in the oven and then pour the water in the tray and they'll cook for about 30 minutes. And what you'll be looking for is kind of a jiggle. You'll jiggle, 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 and we'll show you a shot of that later. Okay, the flan should be done in the oven, so I'm gonna pull it on out. Okay, they look good. And you can see that there's just a little bit of jiggle with the flan, and that's what we're looking for. So I want to let these cool about 20 minutes before I continue with the plating process so that you, one, don't burn your hand, and also to give the custard a bit of time to sit. Pumpkin flan is done. It's cooled for about 20 minutes, and this will make it easier for us to take it out onto the plate. So grab yourself a knife, run your knife around the outside of the flan, and this will loosen it from the sides. You can see that it's already a little looser. Take a plate, and this kind of has to be a fast movement, so work pretty quickly. Flip it, and then set it down. Give it a little jiggle, and you'll see the caramel juice kind of, or you'll see the caramel kind of coming out from the ramekin. And there is your pumpkin flan. If you'd like to see me prepare any other dishes, please send an email to requests@mahalodotcom. And in the meantime, check out all of our other awesome videos.